Welcome, insiders. This is breaking news because the situation in Ceuta and Melilla is becoming clearer. Not resolved, but we are getting to know more. What are the future plans for both Spanish cities by the government of Spain and that of Morocco, which, as we have been telling you, are working hand in hand in this story? They are not enemies, they are allies. Look, in 2022, I'm sure you remember this scene when Mohammed VI and Pedro Sánchez meet for talks. This image went down in history because they also put the Spanish flag upside down. It wasn't a mistake, it was a symbol of submission. 11 months earlier, Pegasus had uncovered all the secrets of Sánchez, Marlaska, and many others, allegedly in an operation by Moroccan intelligence. Therefore, they weren't playing on equal terms. Morocco had the upper hand. From this point on, in 2022, negotiations began to give away Ceuta and Melilla to Morocco. Negotiations that are about to end at this moment, but are still ongoing. We're going to give you the key points. What is being negotiated? What are the points, the phases of this negotiation? What's happening and what they don't want to tell us, which explains why the Spanish government isn't lifting a finger to defend the people of Ceuta. Today we're finally going to learn the truth in just a minute. Protect yourself with CyberGhost VPN. Safe browsing is possible. Folks, Morocco openly admits that there are negotiations. Recently, the Moroccan Minister of Justice did so. Here is Abdellatif Awan. Listen.
This issue is still on the table, and every time we meet with the Spanish, we bring it up. But we have our own policy to deal with this matter patiently. And we also have a policy within Ceuta and Melilla, where there are Moroccans and Spaniards. And we remain attached to our lands. This requires patience, and we want to resolve the issue through dialogue.
He speaks of patience, of dialogue. They have been negotiating the handover of Ceuta and Melilla for 4 years, and Sánchez and his government agreed to negotiate, especially with José Manuel Álvarez, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is a key figure in this negotiation. That wasn't the case with González Laya, which is why Morocco asked for her to be expelled. From that point on, gentlemen, the negotiation started 11 months after Pegasus discovered what Sánchez had. Sánchez, Marlaska, and others had things on their phones so he could be blackmailed. That's where the negotiation began. This meeting, you see, is one of the first where Ceuta and Melilla were already discussed. Much more was discussed, including the delivery of billions. We are fulfilling our commitments with the Casablanca desalination plant, with the trains, with the trams, whatever Morocco needs, Spain pays for it, or advances the money that they won't return later. The agreement reached between Morocco and the Spanish government is completely illegal and would amount to an act of treason. But it goes through 2 main phases that we are going to tell you about, and both have the same final objective: to hand over the autonomous cities to Morocco. Pay attention, because this can't be done. Not without tension, riots, or acts of violence. And that's what's serious. In fact, we've seen posts like this on social media again, calling for the invasion of Ceuta. There you can see them. The worst part is when the text says attack occupied Ceuta. They talk about an occupied city. They will try again this very month of August and in the coming months. The CNA has found these messages on Moroccan social networks, and what they indicate is that the level of violence has increased. They are no longer going to carry banners asking for papers. They are going to take it a step further. Yes, gentlemen, Spain is being attacked in an act of hybrid warfare by Morocco. But it is an act of war. But let's look at it in more detail. Details of this agreement that they have been negotiating for 4 years, as I said, not on equal terms. One side gives in, which is Spain, the other side pressures and tightens the screws, which is Morocco. Pure blackmail. Spain has never been able to negotiate as equals with Morocco, at least since this government has been in power. Look, the first phase of this agreement, which is about to be finalized, is reconciliation. Co-governance of Ceuta and Melilla by the Spanish state and the state of Morocco. They are provoking conflicts, as we told you, civil conflicts. That's why there's a lack of help, for example, to regularize or find out who the 5,000 unaccompanied minors are. They've only assigned 5 police officers. Why? Because that way the problem isn't solved and they stay in Ceuta, which is what they want. They don't want them to come to the mainland, although they've moved some. They want them to stay in Ceuta and for the Moroccan population in Ceuta to gradually increase. If conflicts between the illegal immigrants themselves and the people of Ceuta increase, they'll have the perfect excuse, the pact, to achieve peace and harmony. Those words that he knows so well how to manipulate. Sánchez and his government team will serve to reach a co-governance agreement between Morocco and Spain. To calm things down, to pacify Ceuta. Do you remember? They already did it in Catalonia. When they were destroying Catalonia with the Procés and an independence movement in an illegal referendum, Sánchez gave them everything they asked for to pacify the country. Not with agreements on equal terms, but by giving them everything in exchange for staying in power. It's exactly the same pattern that the Sánchez government will follow in Ceuta. As I said, that will be the first phase. Create conflicts, increase tension, make them stay where they are, or let a few more in. Not to leave the peninsula, not to close borders, not to send anyone back, neither immediately nor later. The second phase of the agreement that Morocco and Spain are about to finalize is much more concerning. But to get there, and I'll tell you about it now, they have to increase the Moroccan population in Ceuta and Melilla. For example, in Melilla today, as in Ceuta, the Moroccan population is around 15 to 22%. They want the Moroccan population living in the 2 autonomous cities to reach 80%, with their own businesses open. Some Spanish businesses are closing. The Moroccan government will take care of acquiring them, buying them, to move Moroccan families into them. The goal is that in just a few years, maybe months, Ceuta and Melilla will have a growing Moroccan population. And what about the people from Ceuta and Melilla who leave their homes, their businesses, and move to the peninsula? That's the worst part of this plan, expelling those who have always been there. Besides, these are people who are absolutely tolerant of all religions, peaceful, very Spanish, more than anywhere else in Spain. They want to remove them from their place of origin to start bringing in the Moroccan population. Not just anyone, specifically selected people, families chosen by the Rabat government to boost the population quickly and in large numbers. When that population reaches, as I said, 80% of the citizens living in Ceuta and Melilla, that's when, according to what was agreed by both governments, it would be handed over. The ownership of both autonomous cities to Morocco. Yes, it's a crime of high treason. It has been under negotiation for 4 years. The excuses they make, the euphemisms they use, the rhetorical manipulation they engage in it doesn't really matter much, does it? We already know how they twist language to make it seem like they're doing something good when they're actually making hellish decisions. And that go against all Spanish laws, the main one being the Constitution. Spanish intelligence sources inform us that both the PP and Vox are aware of this plan. The opposition knows that they are negotiating and is aware of this plan. It's another matter how they will act from now on as the plan accelerates after seeing the success achieved. Take the first 100,000. They came and went as they pleased. Or the nearly 15,000 who remain in the city of Ceuta. Gentlemen, at this point, there are only two options. Either we let it happen, which is possibly what will occur. Ceuta and Melilla start with co-governance, with pacification, and end up in the hands of Morocco. Or civil society rises up and says, enough. Don't trust politics, don't trust Europe, or the office of the head of state. It's an action that must be carried out by civil society together with the state's security forces and hopefully with the Ministry of Defense on their side. Defending national sovereignty is not just the politician's job, it's everyone's responsibility. To know what kind of Spain you want to leave to your children and your grandchildren. Because if we give in on Ceuta and Melilla, the next will be the Canary Islands. And possibly our children or grandchildren will even see them try it with Andalusia. The plan is underway, about to be finalized, very advanced. This is not a negotiation between equals. One gives orders, the other obeys. And we got the worst role. Enduring humiliation in exchange for Morocco blackmailing the Spanish government. We'll share more soon. Welcome. We investigate. We want to browse safely.
Castillón Confidencial, de Albert Castillón.